Yeah, I think when companies talk about diversity, what usually is the narrative or their attitude that this is a token, act that they have to do, and hence now we see, especially in India, for example, we have corporate social responsibility. It's a must for most big companies that earn a amount of profit, like they have to contribute to CSR. And most of them are into social sectors and social entrepreneurship. But what we see is that it's always because they have to do it and not that they want to do it. So the narrative that we have to change is diversity is not some mandate that you have to fill because the government has asked you to, but companies should apply affirmative action or what is called positive discrimination. A lot of people feel that it's taking away from meritorious people when you reserve, let's say, seats or reserve positions for people from marginalized identities or from minorities. But I think it actually adds to your company, not just in terms of that you are then seen as a progressive or diverse company, but it actually does add to the quality of your company, to your profits, to your business, because diversity is not just about bringing one, let's say, if I talk about Indian context, bring in one Muslim woman or one lower caste woman, or maybe in Austria, bringing one black woman to the table. But it's actually about bringing different and diverse voices to the table, which will add, because we cannot, produce quality from a homogeneous group. Like, we need different voices on the table to have a more diverse and qualitative product, service, whatever.
Thank you. Despite facing resistance for demanding the basic rights of women in India, how do you use the wave of digitalization to fulfill your mission for emancipation? And if you can kindly keep it short, because I would still like to ask the three questions.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. So I run a feminist media digital platform in India. It's called Feminism in India. And being a digital platform, it's very important for us to use social media and other digital media tools. We are also part of the WSA network, which gives us access to other people, not only just in India, but women working on different kind of apps and solutions for women's health in South Asia. It is, especially in India, with marginalized communities, social media has become a tool because it is something which works from a bottom-to-top approach. It's not something that is controlled by the dominant narrative, but it's actually in your own control. So a lot of women and marginalized communities in India use social media because they can control it. They can voice their opinions without anyone else, acceptance or domination to it. And as a digital media platform, we have been driving change via social media. So we use a simple thing like WhatsApp to deliver news which is relevant to feminism, which is relevant to what's happening with gender violence in India. So WhatsApp has become a really important tool for us because in India, people use WhatsApp the most. WhatsApp has the biggest penetration in India, and after that, it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And especially another good thing about WhatsApp is that it works also on low bandwidth. So even if you don't have a really good network in your area, and especially in rural areas, WhatsApp is the one that is widely used. So for us, our focus then becomes WhatsApp because we are not just targeting young people who are in cities, but we are also targeting, for example, people like my parents or people who are in smaller towns and rural areas which may not have a really good connectivity, but because they use WhatsApp, we have a huge database there.
Thank you. What's your website called so everyone can check it out?
Feminismindia.com.
Thank you very much.